Adolf Hitler, mastermind behind the Holocaust and instigator of World War II. He was a very intelligent leader and was able to turn an indigent Germany into a superpower. Adolf Hitler's rise to power would not have been possible without the contributions of numerous investors, including companies such as Ford, IBM, and Bayer. They helped Hitler throughout his rise and reign of power.
So, American corporations, only a few, not many, financed Hitler through their subsidiaries. They transferred technology, they transferred material assistance, for example, stocks of tetraethyl before the Germans could manufacture it under the joint manufacturing agreement with the United States. And also they financed this.
In 1919, Army veteran Adolf Hitler, who was frustrated by Germany's defeat in World War I, which had left Germany politically unstable and in destitution, joined a political organization called the German Workers' Party. The party promoted German nationalism and anti-Semitism, and felt that the Treaty of Versailles was extremely unfair to Germany by encumbering it with reparations it could never pay. Adolf Hitler surfaced as a charismatic public speaker for the German Workers' Party and began attracting many new members. In July 1921, he accepted leadership of the party. By then it was known as the Nationalist Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. His goal was to get revenge on the authors of the Treaty of Versailles and turn Germany into a superpower. Hitler wanted everything to be precise and perfect. That is how Germany was kept in order. He admired Henry Ford for creating the assembly line, which allowed products to always be finished accurately and precisely. Henry Ford was the founder of Ford Motor Company, creator of the assembly line. Another reason Adolf Hitler respected Ford was because he was anti-Semitic and shared his beliefs on Jews. Henry Ford even published anti-Semitic articles in his newspaper, the Dearborn Independent. The most harsh and cruel articles were chosen to be written into 4 volumes. The International Jew, the world's foremost problem. According to the New York Times newspaper from August 1st, 1938, Hitler had admired Ford so much that he hung Ford's portrait on the wall of his office. On 1938, Ford received the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, which was the highest reward a foreigner could get. Henry Ford was a major supplier to the German war machine by giving vehicles and funds. Ford had built a factory in Cologne which built 15 to 20% of every kind of mobile unit for the German forces. The American Ford Company provided rubber and critical war materials to the war movement. To meet the German government's demands, the Cologne factory partially assembled US-built trucks sent from the American Ford. The Ford plant in Cologne used slave laborers to build trucks, and the trucks were used in the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Because of his many contributions to Hitler, Ford has a silent legacy that affected the leadership and legacy of Adolf Hitler.
One of the most prominent Americans concerned with financing Hitler was Henry Ford. In fact, Henry Ford received a medal in 1938 for his assistance to the early Nazi Party.
Sie haben früher alle gelacht, diese Juden. Sie haben das für einen Spaß gehalten. Sie lachen heute nicht mehr. Sie wissen, es ist ein blutiger Ernst geworden.
Both Ford and Hitler hated Jews and believed they should be punished for their wrongdoings. IBM had just the right thing to please them. A central goal for Hitler was to identify and destroy over 11 million Jews, political enemies, and those who opposed him, who were deemed unfit for his Aryan race. To search through generations of communal, church, and governmental records all across Europe was a cross-indexing task so immense it called for a computer. But in that time period, no such thing had existed in Germany. But there was something that could complete the task: the IBM card sorting system, also known as the Hollerith machine, precursor to the computer. More than 2,000 multi-machine sets were distributed throughout German-dominated Europe. Card sorting operations were established in every major concentration camp. The Hollerith machines were not sold, they were leased, and they were regularly maintained and upgraded by IBM technicians. The Hollerith machine operated by reading Hollerith cards that were punched, and each punch gave information about the prisoner. Prisoners were identified by Hollerith cards, each with columns and punch holes detailing nationality, date of birth, marital status, number of children, reason for incarceration, physical characteristics, and work skills. 16 coded categories of prisoners were listed in columns 3 and 4, depending upon the position of the hole. Hole 3 signified homosexual, hole 9 for antisocial, hole 12 for gypsy, hole 8 meant a Jew. Without IBM, the victims of the Holocaust would not have been accounted for, and we would not have known the identity of those 10 million people who were brutally worked to death or killed. As the prisoners were logged by IBM's machines, IG Farben was providing the materials to torture and kill them. IG Farben, a chemical cartel, was made up of the following investors, including the well-known pharmaceutical company in America, Bayer, as well as Bodyche Aniline, Agfa, Hoext, Weiler Termere, and Grisham Electron. IG Farben was the provider of Zyklon B, the gas that was used in the gas chambers to kill prisoners. The Russian prisoners of war were used to build the IG Farben industrial facility in Auschwitz. This facility was known as Auschwitz III. Farben's plant, Auschwitz III, was technically a privately run concentration camp where the inmate workers' life expectancy was only a few months. Farben helped provide military resources to Germany during World War II and made 100% of the synthetic rubber, 84% of the explosives, and 70% of the gunpowder used by Nazi Germany and Wehrmacht. IG Farben was helping Hitler before he came to power by giving him 400,000 marks, which is equal to today's $218,832. Many have said that without IG Farben, Hitler would have struggled to get his German war machine ready, and World War II could have been avoided at that time. There were other American investors who helped Hitler and his rise to power. These included George Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush, Nestle, Kodak, Siemens, Coca-Cola, especially with the drink Fanta, Standard Oil, Chase Bank, and Random House Publishing. Foreign investors in America helped our country to become more financially stable. Without these international companies, America would not be one of the world's superpowers. And as the key leader in Germany, Hitler's rise to power would not have been possible without the contributions of American and other foreign investors. The leadership and legacy of Hitler is intertwined with America's most famed industrialist. Without the leadership of America's companies, the rise of Hitler and his legacy may not have been created. As Americans, it is hard to believe that our industrial leaders would have put their financial interests before the lives of soldiers and prisoners. Many of these American investors have a silent legacy in the rise and reign of Adolf Hitler. The leadership of these American companies affected the leadership of Hitler. And while our history books don't mention this to our children, both sides of the story need to be told.